Hello learner, welcome to my video lecture on Computer Networks Laboratory with the subject code 18CSL57. In this video, I will be discussing the next experiment, that is experiment number 3, where we need to write a program for congestion control using leaky bucket algorithm. To understand leaky bucket algorithm, we need some prerequisites such as congestion control, traffic shaping. So we discuss congestion control and traffic shaping before discussing the leaky bucket algorithm. What is congestion in networking? Congestion in data networking is the reduced quality of service that occurs when a network node or a link is carrying more data than it can handle. That means whenever there is more amount of input rate than the output rate, then there will be a congestion in a particular node or a network. If there is any congestion in a network, then the delay will be increased. When the delay increases, the performance of the network decreases. And if the delay increases, then obviously there will be a loss of data and the retransmission of the packet occurs, which makes the situation more worse. So in order to increase the performance of the network, we need to control the congestion. So the solution is congestion control, which refers to the technique used to control or prevent congestion. We have different congestion control techniques. The congestion control techniques are broadly classified into two types. One is called as open loop congestion control, which is used mainly to prevent the congestion. That means the technique to prevent the congestion, and the second type is closed loop congestion. That means how to manage the things whenever there is congestion happens. That is the main difference between open loop congestion control and closed loop congestion control. That means open loop congestion control used before congestion and closed loop congestion are used after congestion. Under open loop congestion control, we have three important types, that is admission control, policing, and traffic shaping. Our point of view is on traffic shaping, where we have two important algorithms which are called as leaky bucket algorithm and token bucket algorithm. Traffic shaping is nothing but it is the process of altering a traffic flow to another flow. That means whenever we have a unregulated flow of traffic, we need to convert it into a regulated flow of traffic so that the congestion can be controlled. In this video, I will be discussing about leaky bucket algorithm. In order to understand leaky bucket algorithm, we correlate with a leaky bucket with the water, where we get input or incoming water from the faucet or tap, and we have a bucket with some leakage of water at the bottom, and water drips out of the hole at a constant rate, and the water will be getting into the bucket at unregulated flow of water. Because of hole whatever we have in the bottom of the bucket, we get a constant rate of water out of the bucket. The same concept we use in the network to control the flow of packets, where we take a buffer which act as a leaky bucket, and into this leaky bucket there will be unregulated flow of packets from the host computer. Once the packets are going out of the bucket or the buffer which act as a leaky bucket, it will be regulated flow of packets. So this bucket or the buffer act as the interface containing leaky bucket, and these are the packets which are coming or going into the bucket, which are unregulated flow of packets. Through this hole, the regulated flow of packets will be sent out of the bucket. And this bucket will have some size so that it can hold some of the packets temporarily inside the bucket or inside the buffer. This is the simple concept in order to convert a unregulated flow of packet into regulated flow of packet in order to control the congestion in the further network. As a whole, leaky bucket algorithm ensures that there will be a management of traffic. Since there is a management of traffic of packets, there will be a reduction in the congestion, and once the congestion is controlled or reduced, there will be improvement in the efficiency of the network. Now we will write the pseudocode for leaky bucket algorithm to implement the leaky bucket algorithm. In order to implement this, we have to consider some of the variables to store the values. The first variable, whatever we take, is number of clock ticks. That means number of times the algorithm need to run or the bucket need to be run. Next is bucket size of the leaky bucket. This need to be read from the user as an input. Again, output rate, number of packets that can be sent out of the bucket at a given time. Again, this is an input given by the user. And we have to consider input packet size, that means incoming burst size, which can be any number which we need to take randomly. That's a random number. And initially we have storage, that means total number of packets left in the bucket. Initially it will be 0, and we have one more variable to track the size left in the bucket. These are the variables we use in the pseudocode to implement the leaky bucket algorithm. Now we will see how we can write the pseudocode for the leaky bucket algorithm using those variables. First we have to read number of clock ticks. Next we have to read bucket size and the output rate. These are the three things we take as an input from the user. Once we have these many inputs, we can run the algorithm for number of clock ticks. That means we have to use any loop. Here I have considered for loop, which goes for from I is equal to 1 to number of clock ticks. First I am calculating the size left, which is nothing but bucket size minus storage. Initially the size left will be equal to bucket size because storage is equal to 0. And I am reading a random number into input packet size. That means a burst size with some random number comes into the bucket. Before inserting this input packet size, we have to check whether input packet size is equal to 0. If at all input packet size is equal to 0, it's an invalid input. That means invalid packet. Just we are printing no incoming flow. The second case or the situation is if the input packet size is less or equal to size left, because we have to consider whether the burst can be included in the bucket or not. So that is why here before inserting the packet we have to check for some condition. The first condition is whether input packet size is 0. If it is not 0, then we have to check whether the input packet size is lesser than or equal to size left. Then only we can allow the packet into the bucket, entire packet into the bucket, or the number of packets whatever it is coming into the bucket can be allowed into the bucket. So if the case is input packet number is less than size left, then I can include all the packet which are coming into the bucket. So once I allow the packets into the bucket, I can update the storage, which is nothing but storage plus input packet size. If the input packet size is greater than the size left, in that condition there is a bucket overflow condition and there will be drop off packets, which is something but input packet size minus size left. For example, if the bucket size left is only 5 and if there are 7 packets are coming into the bucket, out of 7 I can allow only 5 packet, remaining 2 packets need to be dropped. That is why input packet size minus size left, that means 7 minus 5, 2 packets will be dropped. Just print number of packet dropped, and once all the packets are allowed, in this condition the bucket becomes full, so update the storage to bucket size. Next, these are the things we have written for allowing the packet into the bucket. Once we have done this much, then we are allowing number of packets going out of the bucket. First we have to consider the if the storage is equal to 0. If there is no packet, then it's a condition of bucket underflow, bucket is empty. The next condition is if the storage is lesser than or equal to output rate. In that case, all the packets which are in the bucket can be allowed to go if this condition is true. That is why we are allowing all the storage number of packets out of the bucket. So sorry, this is not packet, it's a bucket. And once we allow all the packets out of the bucket, we can make storage is equal to 0. If that is not the case, then we have to allow only output rate number of packets going out of the bucket. So else number of packets sent out is nothing but number of output rate. If I have 10 packets in the bucket and if the output rate is 2, then at a time I can allow only 2 packets go out of the bucket. So once I allow output rate number of packet out of the bucket, I can update the storage. Storage is equal to storage minus output rate. So now storage becomes 10 minus 2, that is 8. And print storage, that is number of storage used out of bucket size. Here it is nothing but 8 out of 10 is used. 2 packets can be stored in the bucket. And number of packet in the bucket is nothing but 8. So that also can be printed with the help of storage. So this is for one clock tick. So like this we have to run for number of clock tick times. The same algorithm need to be run number of clock tick time. This is the simple implementation of simple leaky bucket algorithm for congestion control. Thank you for watching the video. Have a nice day.